Our next session is going to focus on leveraging open innovation for breakthroughs in deep tech. Again, very interesting, very passionate topic for me as well, actually. And uh, I invite here two very eminent speakers and researchers, Kalika Bali, who is the principal researcher with Microsoft, and Rohan Chatwal, who is deputy general manager and head of innovations with Maruti India Suzuki. Welcome, Kalika. Good to have
Hello.
you.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Nice to
Great,
have
great.
you, Rohan, as well, actually. Yeah. And
Thank you.
look forward to hear your thoughts on open innovations for breakthroughs in deep tech. Kalika, I did see you have been working with Microsoft for a pretty long time, actually. Would love to hear the kind of work you have been doing, actually, and how, and your thoughts on this specific topic, and Rohan as well, actually. So over to you guys.
Great. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Actually, I'm glad that today we are not discussing the merits of open innovation, rather discussing how can we leverage open innovation. Because I believe time has come when this fact is more or less established that yes, open innovation is beneficial for the organizations, whether you're a large organization or small. And it gives me an amazing opportunity to ask Kalki my first question that your organization, especially Microsoft, how do you leverage open innovation to channelize your commitments to your clients and take this forward?
So my name's Kalika. It's pronounced
Yeah,
as
Kalki. Sorry.
Kalika,
Yeah,
and
sorry.
yeah. So I actually have worked mainly in Microsoft research, but have been have closely observed how Microsoft went from, um, changed its journey towards open innovation. A decade or so ago. Um, And there are lots of ways in which Microsoft as a company, as well as we in MSR, leverage and support open innovation. So, if you look, a lot of the tools, etc., that we work on, many of the platforms are put out in open. Um, a lot of our incubations are spun out as open innovation. So for example, we had a lot of work being done in the agricultural field. A lot of it has been put out, and there is a reason why this is done. So for if you put out an open platform in Microsoft, you allow others to build on top of it, right? So the ecosystem benefits, and as the ecosystem benefits, your company benefits as well. So you have clients, you have your partners, you have other SMEs who are kind of part of that ecosystem, and everybody can build on top of it. And one example that I could give for this is how everybody knows about Microsoft's relationship with OpenAI, right? And
Yeah.
that's definitely one part of the story. But many people might not know that Microsoft Azure actually supports Llama, you know, and other models as well, um, in their ML platform, so that people who want to fine tune and build on top of these open models are also getting the same benefits of Azure, the cloud services, and security and privacy, etc., of being supported by Azure. Yeah.
I keep on hearing a lot of good stuff about Microsoft's offerings to startups and the kind of support which you have extended to promote the startup ecosystem and the startup culture. And startups have only good things to talk about Microsoft. I mean, in my 4 years of association with this ecosystem. But coming to very interesting, but coming to the point that we today talk about to understand from you, you can only have a breakthrough solution if you are able to identify a bigger problem.
Yeah.
Because we as professionals, I mean, irrespective of the hierarchies, there are plethora of problems in front of us. So is there any specific model which you have, which Microsoft has? How do you identify big enough problems so that the impact is manifold once it is solved?
I don't think there is like a set model for choosing problems. But one thing definitely, like, there are a whole lot of things that you have to keep in mind when you're choosing a problem that's big enough, right? And like you said, there are a plethora of big problems. So one definitely is how much of a change it's going to make to the users if you solve that problem. Like, who all are going to be impacted, how many people are going to really have a change in their work life or um, personal life if you solve that problem, right? And I think that is a very good mm, kind of a north star to look at when you're trying to choose your problems, right? Another thing, of course, has to do with business models. What is going to be the business model that's going to make your uh, mm, solution profitable enough for you to sustain it, for you to support it, right? And the third is, of course, like there are problems that align with what you're doing in what you do as a company, and there are problems that do not align with what you do as a company. So that's another guiding strategy. Now, for example, of course, a cure for cancer, a vaccine for cancer would be fantastic. It'll solve, it's a big problem to solve. It'll change a lot of things in our lives around us. But, you know, um, is Microsoft the right place to solve that problem? Probably not. So I think these three things I would say would be useful to think of if you're looking at these problems. I think we lost Rohan, right?
Yeah, yeah, we lost Rohan actually. We are trying to bring him up as well actually. But yeah, getting back to Rohan's earlier question, uh, Microsoft is a absolutely platform company, right? It builds platform so that the ecosystem benefits out of it. And if we look into past 3 decades of experience actually, where we had PC desktop era, then we had internet web, and then mobile cloud, and now the whole new innovations which are happening in AI space, basically, right?
Yeah,
With natural language processing and the whole reasoning engine which Microsoft
yeah,
is building through. Amazing work actually, and and it's great to see that Microsoft is infusing, or the focus of AI which Microsoft is bringing basically in each of its tech product stack, right
yeah,
from productivity tools down to foundational platform elements, basically.
yeah, yeah,
So, what kind of research have you been working on, or till Rohan comes up, basically, which you would
yeah.
like to share,
Sure.
which India's deep tech community would benefit out of it?
So yeah, so with the coming of these foundational models, I and my colleagues have been kind of thinking that whenever a new technology comes, whether it's through Microsoft or it's through any other thing, when a big disruptive technology comes, it usually starts with the Western world, right? The global north, as we call it. And then it kind of comes to global south, to the westernized or the English speaking population in the global south. And only then it kind of percolates after time there. So we have actually been thinking of creating a platform, which we call Vellum, which is a platform that lets you build culture and context specific, domain specific solutions on top of it. So at the bottom is the same foundational model kind of a thing, but then on top of it, it has support for multilingual capabilities. It has support for choosing the right kind of algorithm or multilingual pathway that you might want. You can build lots of co-pilots on top of it, and we call it like co-pilot plus plus, because for some of these things there isn't really a pilot for you to build a co-pilot. So one of the things that we've been working on is the how to make this platform available to partners in the global south, so they can um, make use of the the sheer power of foundational models, but in their own context, in their own language, in their own domains. So that's something that currently I'm very much engaged in. Yeah. Welcome back, Rohan.
Sorry, the poor
Yeah.
network. I mean.
Yeah.
Now we are not used to online, too much of online meetings. We have moved back to in-person meetings.
Yeah.
So now very interesting. I mean, thanks Mangesh for chipping in and when the network was down. Thank you so much. So very interesting. Like I shared before as well, I'm very well aware about the kind of contribution which Microsoft is making to drive in open innovation. But one challenge which I've seen when large corporations are dealing with the startups and the people and the workforce which is working on these open platforms, should there be a different criteria or a matrix to judge and assess the open innovation led innovations which are being kind of proposed these days, or do we have the traditional lens to evaluate the startups the way we evaluate other companies?
I mean, in some sense, I think it is about like how many people you touch, whether it's a startup or if it's a Microsoft, like how big is the problem that you're solving, right? And I'm not saying that there is no need for smaller scale problem solving. There is, like, if uh, you're solving for a small population which is very under served, definitely you need to solve for them. So but I think ultimately it is about what difference do you make to the people that you're solving for. um, and whether it's a startup or if it's a multinational corporate big company, that has to be the final criteria. The thing with startups is that there is innovation that becomes the forefront, right? Now Microsoft is a very innovative company, but Microsoft has a steady business. There are things that Microsoft has to keep doing, right?
Absolutely.
Like and innovate on top of what is a steady business stream for Microsoft. But for a startup, it is the innovation that comes in the forefront.
Absolutely.
How?
Innovation quotient is very, very high there, and probably the stability and running
Yeah,
operations is equally important for you. And then
yeah,
on top of that, you would like to build a layer of innovation. Very interesting.
yeah.
Of course, you have to run your house and then, of course, build a layer of innovation on top of that. So that means, as a professional or the team which is dealing with the startups, so do you have a separate lens to evaluate them, or are you still that very hard when it comes to evaluating these startups?
So I have been part of the accelerator program, like evaluations earlier, and we generally like try to find. And the good thing is that Microsoft is so big that we always find people who have expertise in some of the domains, and we actually kind of try to get people on board who can look at the solutions, who can look, hear the pitch, see whether it makes sense from the domain side of things, whether technology wise it makes sense, technically it makes sense. And then there are people who will evaluate it like business wise, does it make sense, right? So we do have that kind of setup to evaluate startups for the startup program. Yeah.
And now with this is emergence of so many deep tech startups, and thanks to Nasscom as well, they kind of nurture them and provide them an environment where a lot of deep tech startups have come up, and they are making a big contribution even to organizations like Maruti Suzuki.
I think actually I was talking to somebody just a week ago, and they told me that after the Bay Area, India is, you know, the largest set of startups in the entire world. So I
Wow,
do think that this will keep happening and growing. But I think there's also need to consolidate. So startups just for the purpose of selling it off versus startups consolidating into a major business venture. those are two very different things. And I think once you put that lens, a lot of the startups actually fall off, which is like, they reach a
I
stage
know.
and then they
So
sell
what's your
off.
word of caution for these startups? And they should focus on value creation, or just chase what?
uh, Discrimination and how are they different, because right now, like if I look at NLP space, right, like the language
That's too
technology space,
crowded.
or even the agricultural space, everybody has the same thing. I don't know if we have time, but I'll very very quickly tell you about this incident that happened. I was in a Gates Foundation and GIZ funded event where they were a lot of people were pitching for agricultural tech program, uh, and everybody more or less had this view of information, providing information to the farmers. And they had some actual women farmers come in, and we were interacting, and I was talking to them. And one of them said, Didi, why does everyone think we don't have information? you know
Hmm.
we have a lot of sources of information, but there are lots of other things that we need help with. Can't you build us a machine that can go, and like a drone, go and
Check
do
the
the
health.
sowing?
Yeah, yeah, do
Yeah,
the
or
soil, check the health of the soil.
can you, yeah. So I think that was like a real, it should have been the real eye opener for the people present there, because know your user.
Yeah, yeah,
Know
absolutely.
that whether the problem you're solving is even important for your user.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's the discrimination that you have to kind of make. Just because
Absolutely.
something is hot right now and it's like
Yeah.
buzzy right now, that's maybe that's not the only space you can
Absolutely,
innovate in.
absolutely. In Japanese, they say do gemba. Gemba is actually you go to the spot, check on your own what is the actual situation, and then after seeing with your own eyes, take the decision rather than believing what is happening here, say whatever is the trend. But you go to the actual spot. In Japanese, they say, have you done the gemba or not? That means
Yeah,
whether you have actually gone in the market or the client or a customer and saw yourself what is the situation, and then
yeah,
take a decision.
yeah,
Precisely,
Yeah.
yes. There's a lot of this space is also very crowded.
yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I believe we got really good insights from you, Kalika, and
Thank
I
you.
think we were allotted only 10 minutes. So I
Yes,
think I
I
hope we
Yeah.
know.
did
Thank
justice to the 10 minutes which were allotted to us.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mangesh can
So
tell
thank
us.
you. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. Very interesting discussion. Thank you, Kalika and Rohan, for
Yeah.
driving through this and taking us through your some of these examples, Kalika. Absolutely loved it. Thanks again for your time, both of you.